Hey guys, I'm Rob and welcome back to Rob's Model Cars. Well, today's review is of a model that I previously have reviewed, but this is a different colour. So what I'm talking about is the brand new AUTOart Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo. Now, for those that follow the channel, you will have seen that I've already reviewed the red version of this model. Unfortunately, it did come with a defect from AUTOart directly. The rear wing was broken and it had a couple of little minor issues with the model as well. For those that follow me on social media know that I had a little bit of trouble contacting AUTOart and getting a reply from them. After a few weeks of emails back and forward, I finally got some resolution to the problem and I sent the red model back to AUTOart in Hong Kong so that they could exchange it for a new version. Now, I did ask them to change it to the blue version instead of the original red version that I bought, and they were happy to send me the blue version just because of the few little issues we had with communication back and forward. So I thought I would do another review of this model, being that it's the different colour and it's the most desired colour of this specific model. So this is the AUTOart Bugatti Vision GT. Now, same box as the red one, just a blue box, a little bit of Bugatti branding on there as well. Model inside is in a foam shell to protect it during shipping, which usually does the job. And if we lift the lid off here, this is the exact replica of the real car, which is a one-off. So this is the French racing blue and dark blue carbon fibre version. So I really like the red and black version, but now that I have this one in my hands, I'm kind of glad that I've now got this blue and blue carbon fibre version in the collection. So this one actually has a working rear spoiler. This was broken on the last red one, so thank you to AUTOart Models in Hong Kong for sorting this issue out and sending me a new model. So yeah, so what we'll do, we'll put this on a turntable and we'll go through this model again, and it's basically going to be the same sort of review as the red version, but just this is the blue version, and I'm sure that most of you collectors want this particular version and not the fantasy colour. So we'll get it on the turntable and we'll have a closer look at this AUTOart Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo. Okay, so here we have the brand new AUTOart Bugatti Vision Gran Turismo. Now, as I said, there's only one of these in real life, and this is the spec that it's in. So it's in this French light racing blue and this dark blue carbon fibre. And although I really like the red, I'm quite happy that I've now got the blue version to match the real car. So, like I said in the other review of the red one, I think overall AUTOart has really captured the Vision GT here, and I think it looks pretty good. Stance looks good, wheels are great, we'll get to that, and this one is basically in great condition, so it does have a working rear wing. We'll get to that later, but yeah, overall really happy with the look of this blue version. So let's start with the paintwork. So this does have a pretty good paint finish on it. So this French light racing blue, pretty good application all over this model. It is a composite model, which some call a plastic model, but it does have a die-cast chassis underneath to give the model a little bit of weight. Now, I was reading a story on Facebook about the carbon fibre process on these models. So they've gone to a great deal of trouble to do tampo printing for all the decals on these bodies, and I think close up, if you see, they've actually done a really good job on the placement, and they said they actually had quite a defect rate as well, because obviously trying to line up these tiny little carbon fibre lines would not be the easiest thing in the world to do either. So I think overall the carbon fibre look on this model is really good, and it is a very, very dark blue. It's not black, but it does sometimes look a bit black in some photos, but it is a very dark blue colour. So that's the exterior of the model. So let's now talk about the details. So it does have photo etch mesh in the Bugatti logo in the front, and not really any underneath, but you can see the big radiators in there. You can sort of see the radiators through the front there as well, through these air scoops. They've done a pretty good job on the headlights underneath here, these 4 little clear appendages. And another notable mention is these big air vents through the top of the fenders here. Now these are actually hollow. You can actually see the wheels through those, which is a nice touch. We've got a couple of little canards either side here which are in carbon fibre, and we've got some decals around the car also. Now the windscreen wiper is just plastic, not metal, but it does have a little metal piezo tube here, and you've got some little plastic communication aerials on the roof as well. Nice little Bugatti emblem on that front grille as well, and you do have carbon fibre surround on that grille opening. You've got your emergency electrical shut-off switches here and the bottom of the window. The plastics are pretty clear on this model, not as clear as a high-end resin, but they are reasonably clear and acceptable. And of course you've got your little emergency ejection flap in the roof here of the model. Now they've done a nice job on these metal latches here which hold the doors on, and these side view, well, they'd usually be mirrors, but these are actually cameras in here for the rear, for the side mirrors. These are all covered in carbon fibre as well, and they've done a nice job on the fuel race filler caps here either side as well. Now we've got some pretty aggressive aero going on through here. We've got these big shark fin detail pieces here and these big wide skirts. They're all in carbon fibre as well, and we've got some branding decals here on the front of the side skirt as well. I do have a couple of little dull spots on the carbon fibre in underneath these scoops. I'm not sure whether the camera is picking that up, but that's something that I had on my red version as well. Of course, you've got this giant big shark fin piece which runs right through the centre of the roof to the rear wing. The rear wing is obviously massive, and it does have these big side planes to hold it in place as well, and we do have the AUTOart Bugatti logo on there as well as the French flag underneath it. Now as I mentioned, the rear wing does operate, so it's got a little metal support through the middle here, and that lifts up and it lifts down, so this actually works. My red one was actually broken from the wing here, and this little piece was actually glued inside, so it was actually broken and didn't allow any movement at all. So that is how the rear wing opens and closes, which is quite good. And then we've got the back of the model as well, which has quite a lot of detail in it too. We've got all carbon fibre rear diffuser, carbon fibre around this polished silver brake light, more mesh in the back there, and you can see the radiators in behind there. But this model has the same issue as my red one. So if you look at the second in from this side, the exhaust pipe sticks in further than the other 3. Now that's something that my red one had as well, so maybe you guys, if your model has that exhaust pipe stuck in more than the other ones, let me know in the comments below. That might just be, every model might be like that, but this second one in is sticking too far in. Now the bottom of the model, this is the only part that has textured carbon fibre, so this is just the whole floor section, and this is textured plastic to look like carbon fibre, but you don't really see it because the model always sits on its wheels. So overall, I think the detail is pretty good on this model. Now, it does have some extra little niceties that I really like, and that is the wheels. I think AUTOart have done a really fantastic job on these wheels. They do look better in the silver than the black on the red version. You do have all the blue Michelin tyre stripes and writing on the tyres as well, which looks really good. And they've done a great job on the brake rotors and discs inside as well, front and rear. So I think that is really a high point of this model. The wheels look super realistic. Really happy with that. Of course, they do turn and they do steer as well, which is what you expect on all AUTOart models. Now let's talk about the engine. As you know, you don't see much of an engine on a Bugatti Chiron or a Veyron, only what you can see in the top here. So you can see the top of the plenums here, a little bit of mesh in these rear vents here, but yeah, enough detail in there to satisfy most collectors. So that's not too bad. And of course, the model has opening doors. So if we open the doors up, the windows just sit underneath the roof. So just when you open the door, just press it down just a fraction, just to release the window from underneath the rail there. The doors actually feel reasonably solid on this car. They don't feel as flimsy as some of the other composite models, but that does give you full access to the interior. Now, like the red version I reviewed, most of the interior is in carbon fibre decal, so all the floor, centre console, lower part of the dashboard, behind the seats, everywhere is pretty much carbon fibre, except for the door trims, which are just in this greyish like plastic, which I think that lets the model down a little bit when everything else is covered in carbon fibre. If these were covered in carbon fibre, that would have been a home run. So of course you can see the fire extinguisher system bottle on the floor, and there's another couple of silver boxes on the floor, probably ECUs or such. And on the driver's side, obviously there's only one seat in this car. You do have your black and red racing seat. You do have your very futuristic steering wheel and dash, which is mounted on the extended steering column. And you've got a few buttons and switches in the center console as well. So you do have some racing seat belts on that racing seat also, which looks pretty good. And they've done a reasonably good job on the pedals inside as well, so your brake accelerator. So yeah, overall, look, I think they've done a pretty good job of this model. If it had a removable engine cover as well, that would be just sensational, but I don't think anyone has seen the engine cover off the real car anyway. But it does have the movable rear wing, and it does have the opening doors as well. So I'm sure you Bugatti fans will absolutely have to have this one in the collection. I think they've done a reasonably good job, AUTOart, with this model. I probably don't give them enough credit for the carbon fibre process on these models, but in saying that, BBR and MR on their high-end resin models actually do all this with hand-laid decals. So it is what it is, but at least this is an opening model, and the only opening model you can get of this Bugatti Vision GT. So overall, if I was going to give this a Rob score, being that this has nearly no defects, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10 as my Rob score. So definitely one to have in the collection. I'm not a huge Bugatti fan, but it's definitely such an iconic hypercar, I guess, even if there's only one in the world, that I wanted to have it in the collection as well. So that's going to wrap up today's review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. Don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps the channel if you like the video. And don't forget, you can follow me on social media as well, and I also have an eBay store. Now, all the links to those pages are on the homepage of this YouTube channel. And yeah, stay tuned. We've got plenty more model reviews to come in the new year, more custom models to build, and some exciting news as well, with another giveaway coming next year. So I hope you enjoyed today's review, but until next time, thanks for watching Rob's Model Cars.